We've got Kari Lake, as promised, with us now. She is running for a critical Senate seat in Arizona. It could be the difference between Senate control or not for what will hopefully be a second term for President Trump. Kari, great to have you back on the program. Thanks for making the time.
Thank you for having me, guys.
So, we've got a few things to talk to you about. I did want to get you, though, to weigh in first, if I could, Kari, on, both what Governor Abbott is doing at the border, because the whole nation, I think, is focusing in on this today. It's really a critical issue. And you want to be a senator, and we certainly hope you're successful in this endeavor. You want to be a senator from a border state. I have a feeling your home state governor not exactly stepping up for the Constitution like Abbott is. So if you could speak to both of those.
Well, this is why when I ran for governor, I had the strongest border policy this country had ever seen. And it was the states taking back their sovereignty and taking control of the border. I called it an invasion before anybody else did, and it is truly an invasion. I think now everyone's come to the realization. And I suggested months ago, Governor Abbott, since he had control of a state, and he is a Republican, to issue a declaration of invasion and immediately take control of the border. And I'm glad that he's doing it now. I wish he would have done it sooner, but better late than never. Each border state, each governor has the ability and, frankly, the duty to the citizens of their state and of this country to secure the border on their own. We can't rely on the federal government. Joe Biden caused this, and he's weaponizing the federal government to keep the problem alive. And so I'm really concerned that it's going to get worse. I hope the Senate gets together and comes up with a border plan, not to give all these people amnesty, not for the taxpayers to pay for their, lawyers and give them job permits and allow them to stay here forever. I hope instead they do a very simple piece of legislation which funds the border wall, and they get that thing up ASAP. And they also, allow these states to put their National Guard on the border and protect their citizens.
Kari, appreciate you being on with us. I want to play. You've been in the center of a lot of controversy, which thank you, by the way. And you know that Buck and myself both really wish that you were governor right now because we know you would be standing behind Greg Abbott for border security, unlike Katie Hobbs. But there's a lot of people who don't want you involved in politics. And this clip I want to play for you. It's 52 seconds. You can tell people where or if you think they should go listen to a longer version. But this is 52 seconds. I want to play it for our audience. And let me give a little bit of prelude beforehand. This is a clip where someone is offering to pay you not to run for the Senate from Arizona. Here is cut 23, if we could play it. And then I'm going to ask you to react to it right after, Kari. Here it is.
There are very powerful people who want to keep you out.
I know they do.
But they're willing to put their money where their mouth is in a big way. So, this conversation never happened.
What do they want me to do?
You want to stay out for 2 years. Is there a number at which
I can be bought.
not be bought?
That's what it's about.
You can take a pause for a couple of years.
No.
And then go right back to what you're doing.
No. 10 million, 20 million, 30, no. A billion, no. I don't want to deal with people like this. These people are un-American, and I think they're unethical, and I would be absolutely immoral if I did that. You know what it is? The people don't get to choose their elected officials unless they're pre-approved by the swamp. And the swamp doesn't pre-approve of me.
You need a strong party to help
I think you
win.
should go public with this and then say, hey.
No. And then I turn my key in my car and I just...
Okay. That is blockbuster, Kari. That is, and I'm curious, so many questions that I have coming out of that. But first of all, do you know who wanted to pay you not to run for Senate from Arizona? Did you record that yourself? What can you tell our audience that just heard that clip of someone conveying an offer, it sounds like, to you to be paid not to run for Senate from Arizona?
Well, there's a longer version. It's between 10 and 11 minutes, the full version that is out, and I really recommend people go and listen to that. It's shocking. I was literally dumbfounded when that happened. I thought I was in an episode of House of Cards. And that is the now former chair of the AZ-GOP, Jeff DeWitt, who was chairman of the Arizona Republican Party. He resigned yesterday, thankfully. This kind of unethical behavior that we have to root out of all of politics and government. We have to get this out. I don't care if the corruption's Democrat corruption, Republican corruption. We, the people, demand a change. We're at wit's end right now. So this was a conversation. Yes, I did record that. Jeff had called me. This was 11 months ago, by the way. And, you guys might just be learning about it, but shortly after this conversation happened, I got on a plane and headed to CPAC in Washington, D.C., where I was going to be delivering a keynote speech. And it was just gnawing at me that happened. And the whole plane ride there, I just thought, I have to tell somebody about this. So I changed my speech, and during my speech, I laid out exactly what happened. And I've been talking about this for 11 months now. The mainstream media has never asked me once about it. I laid that whole thing out. For 11 months, I talk about it in speeches, when I go to small groups, big groups, and no mainstream media reporter ever called and said, tell me more about that. Who is behind it? What's going on? And so this was released this week. I recorded it because Jeff had called me about, a few minutes earlier and said, what are you doing? I'm in your neighborhood. I'm just outside your neighborhood. I'm on my way over, and I have to talk to you about something. And there's something I can't talk. I knew it was about me running for Senate, because we'd had a little bit of I said, I'm not going to be talked out of running for Senate. If I decide to do it, I'm going to do it. And he said, well, I have to talk to you about something very important. I'm paraphrasing, of course. But I can't do it on the phone. What I have to tell you, I have to tell you in person. And I don't know about you guys, but you ever just get a funny feeling in your stomach and your gut, and you go, this doesn't sound right. And I
was
just
CIA, Kari. That used to happen sometimes, for sure. Yes.
So, Kari, let me ask you this then.
So
do
I
you know?
recorded it because I thought maybe there was going to be a threat involved against my safety, and I recorded it, and then I never listened to it again until this week. And another little feeling said, you should listen to that again. And so I pulled that out. I found it. I tracked it down. And I was sitting at the dinner table with my husband and daughter, who's 20, and hit play while we were eating dinner. And all of our jaws dropped to the floor. We couldn't believe it. Was so much worse than I even remembered it. And my daughter, who's 20, who is so worried about her future and whether she'll be able to live the American dream, said, Mom, tell me this guy's no longer involved in politics. I said, well, he actually is. He runs the Arizona Republican Party. And she said, you have to do something about this, Mom. You can't just sit on that. And I really didn't think I was going to do anything, but my daughter and this generation and their future depends on us rooting people like this out.
Do you know who conveyed that offer to Jeff DeWitt?
I don't know for certain. I thought about it. I've pondered it. I've laid awake at night wondering. I've come up with people I think it might be. The sad thing, guys, is that you could think for 24 hours and probably work up a list of 400 people and entities that it could be. That is how corrupt. That's how corrupt it is.
Why would they not want you to run? Not just. It's one thing. People can choose who they want in a primary. We get that, fine. The notion that you would need to be, and you obviously didn't take it. They made you an offer you can't refuse, except you refused it. But that they would want to do this to prevent you from running. Why do you think that is?
Well, this was 11 months ago, and I'm going to lay it out. Jeff DeWitt is a DeSantis supporter, and they didn't want a MAGA candidate, in my opinion, on the ballot. They knew that it would I bring out MAGA, and I bring out a lot of independents. I'm actually very popular with independents, the most popular Republican in Arizona with independents. You have to remember, I was in their homes for almost 30 years as the main news voice in Arizona. And I think they want to hurt. I think that they wanted to hurt Trump. I think they wanted to put an end to Trump. And I was getting a lot of pressure to back away and distance myself from President Trump, which I won't do. He's an incredible president, a great candidate, and he's the man for this moment that we are in history. And so I think they didn't want me. I don't think they want MAGA. I don't think they want America first, honest people that can't be bribed and can't be blackmailed going to Washington, D.C. Because what happens is you get there, and immediately they try to bribe you, blackmail you, pay you off, and get control over you. So that we always wonder, why do these guys vote the way they do? We elect them, they tell us they're going to do something, and then they go there and immediately just stab the American people in the back. And they're worried about me because if you listen to the whole tape, Jeff says Washington, D.C. is a big back-scratching club, and you don't scratch their back, and you've already made it very apparent you won't scratch their back. And I won't. And I'm not joining the back scratching club. I'm joining the butt kicking club. And we're gonna knock some sense into these people, because the American
Kari, we certainly want you to be the next senator from Arizona. So I'm guessing KariLake.com is where people who are listening to this right now can go donate. But you mentioned something. I just want to circle back to it. When I hear that, Kari, you said it. It feels like you're in a House of Cards movie, that the television show where people are pulling threads. Doesn't a huge part of you said there might be 400 people, but shouldn't we know who's trying to bribe someone not to run for office? Like, where that money is coming from, that because Jeff DeWitt theoretically is conveying an offer, right? He would know. Right. I think as a citizen, certainly if I lived in Arizona, I'd want to know, but as a citizen of the United States, I want to know who's trying to bribe people not to run because they don't like what they might say. That seems very important to know.
I agree, and I think he should say who these very powerful people back east are. Very powerful people back east should not be dictating who runs for office in Arizona or Missouri or Texas. The people of Arizona don't want powerful people back east dictating who they approve to run for office. And the sad thing is, DeWitt was very well aware. There have been 4 or 5 polls that have come out at this point when he came to my house that nobody could beat me in the U.S. Senate race. I was polled against everybody, and I beat them all by a mile, including in the polling for the general election. So that's what makes me believe that they didn't want me on because they knew I could win, and they don't want a mama bear who's fed up and who's going to fight for her state in Washington, D.C.
Do you think it could be Mitch McConnell?
I don't know. I mean, no, I don't. I really don't want to sit here and guess and throw names out. I don't think that's responsible. I don't know who it could be. The problem is, as I said, it could be so many people, which shows you how dirty politics and D.C. is. And I think that's why they hate Trump. Washington, D.C. hates Trump, and they hate me. And actually, we need to be sending people to D.C. that D.C. doesn't want.
Kari, I just need to know something. Are you going to win by enough that they can't derail it with shutting down voting and printers going awry?
Well, I believe we are. And I think, one of the things we've done since that last election is revealed what happened and how they did it and what they did. And it makes it harder. The next time around, they got to come up with new ways. I mean, they did new things in 22 that they didn't do in 20. And now there's a reason they're trying to sue me and stop me and get me, just like Trump, get me so caught up in court and bogged down that I can't campaign. It's truly election interference. They're doing it at a national level with Trump, here in Arizona with me. But the people understand that I have been a fighter for them, that I didn't back down, and that we are revealing exactly where the problems are in our election system. And we just want to be honest, guys, I just want honest elections. I want the most liberal Democrat and the most conservative Republican and everything in between. I want everyone's legal vote to count, and that we can all rest assured that our system is fair and honest. And that's all. I think everybody wants that.
All right, Kari Lake, everybody, running for Senate. We'll have you on again, Kari, as it gets closer. Thanks for being here.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. God bless you.
God bless.